to start off, these two guys are really awesome. And it's one of the reasons why I'm up here, because I got involved with MWD. Can you hear pretty well, everybody? Something that a little shaky. I don't know if that's my tone or pitch, but once you get the mic there. I saw a couple people in the back fall asleep, so I knew it was my voice. But getting to work with NWD and Wiggs and Peggy and Warren, and then meeting this gentleman here, this is where Southern California Edison is, I feel, has gotten a little more involved with the ag industry. And a lot of people don't realize this. Southern California Edison has been involved with agriculture because a lot of our customers in the Central Valley are ag customers. And we've had several incentive programs and things that we've done for them to help save on the energy side. Where we've gone now, though, is looking a little further into what they do as far as the process and what are the type of technologies we can bring into them. And a lot of it is what we normally do in our own sector, which is commercial buildings. Give you a quick background. My background is in lighting technologies, and I'm part of a group called Emerging Products, which is part of Southern California Edison's commercial programs and services group. So we get to kick the tires on new technologies. We get to meet innovators, entrepreneurs, companies that are coming up with brand new ideas or products, and we get to test them and see if they can go into our mainstream incentive programs. And or what we also do, if they can't fit into an incentive program, we try to connect them with some of our large customer base or cities or counties to see if these people could use the technology. But for the companies that are just starting off, the entrepreneurs and everything, we needed to find a way to have a conduit where they can come in and introduce their products. And we came up with what we call a gating system or an intake system. And this gives an opportunity to an entrepreneur or a company that's been in business for a while to present to us an idea or a concept or a service that we could actually possibly use in what we do for a business. So I just talked to you a little about that. So the challenges for us is staying on top of efficiencies. And efficiencies for us are predominantly energy efficiency. So not being a water utility, we're electric utility, how do we play in this market? And how do we not step on the toes of our counterparts that are in the business, such as NWD, dealing with water? So trying to find efficiencies in water where we can take our funding that we get from the state and come up with sustainable water services or products has been kind of a challenge for us. But go back one little step, the way they chose me to take on the water technologies is because my last name is Rivers, and that's the only reason why. So, So what we took a look at is, all right, we had to look at what's going on, and this is what we try to tell entrepreneurs. You know, when you have a technology that is a water-based technology and they come to us and say, hey, we can save water and we can save energy. So we ask them these questions. Is it directly an energy efficiency or maybe a demand response and energy efficiency? Is it really just water only? And we're now trying to develop an embedded energy profile, and I won't get into that, it's a long subject. And then we also look at, is this strictly what the cost effectiveness is? We help people show what the cost benefits are on the energy side and on the water side. So anything that has to do with water energy nexus, we try to encourage or direct them to see what the cost benefit analysis is. Other things that we found out on water is there's a huge GHG factor in it, and we realize that, so we take a hard look at that. And then the last thing, two parts were, which has been the mainstay over the last 4 years, is the drought initiatives. And then also from Southern California Edison, can we be a good steward in helping this entrepreneur out and getting that into the marketplace or getting into the right hands? So we always look at that, and we try to look at anybody's product or idea and say, what are the technology's benefits and where do we want to go with that? This is kind of a thing what we call preferred energy resources. It's just a kind of a framework that we look at our technologies and how we want to go to market with them. This is probably a little more advanced for advanced technologies that are already been proven, but these are some of the areas that we take a look at and see how you fit in as a technology within our what we call preferred energy resources. There's all kinds of products that we talk about in the market sectors, and I think I got 14 slides, so is that 14 minutes I have? And a break. I'm going to go through some of these. Oh, I guess they come down. Thank you already. Excuse me. So our intake process is this, and it's a website that I think we'll give to IGNITE22 to give everybody else is a site that you go on. There's an application form you fill out, and if you have an idea, a product or service, and you submit it into our intake process. That intake process, it could be a high school student, it could be anybody that has an idea for energy efficiency, water efficiency, and what we now call demand response or flexible DR. And it's a simple application that you fill out about your product, and it goes through a review panel. What normally happened in the past is that you tell somebody you know at Edison, and they tell somebody they know at Edison, and it eventually falls into a big hole and doesn't go anywhere. So we decided to formalize that process so we can capture everybody's ideas. Some ideas may not turn into a product or service, but it may start a whole different way of thinking from a strategic standpoint. And we may introduce those people into maybe even a state level interface or a local interface. So this intake process, you fill out the form and it goes through as much of stage gates, just like what Wiggs was showing you, and we'll evaluate it. At times we'll bring that person in, or if we don't feel it's ready for marketplace or the concept hasn't been fully developed, we'll sit down with you and say, these are the points that we would like for you to go out and look at, make some contacts, maybe explore a couple other avenues to bring up your product or your service idea and get to a different level. And then once you've done that, come back to us and we'll help you see if you can go through the process one more time or connect with somebody else. So that's a real quick snapshot. Some of the things we are doing for water, I don't have any case studies up here, but the water industry, and I'm glad to hear MWD is doing a lot of it too, but mostly for ag, we want to get them to start looking at their water usage like buildings look at their electricity use. And that's going to take a lot of telemetry that does monitoring, that does controls, whether it's wireless controls, phone app controls, things that will take a farmer to the next level or a grower to the next level of technology to monitor how they're using water on their cropland, how they're doing their distribution of water, and also looking at better ways of pumping strategies. And if you take a look at a typical farmer that has to go out to a pumping station, and some of these farms are pretty huge, they have to get in their pickup truck and drive for maybe a mile or two to turn on and off a pump. But if they can do that remotely from their main office and to say, I'm going to toggle these pumps on and off wirelessly or through a cellular connection, think of the water that can be saved. Because that might be, or even the crop yields that can be improved because they're not overwatering or not underwatering. So those are some of the things that we're looking at for the ag industry. It's looking at the telemetry is what we call it, which is monitoring and metering and measuring what's going on out in the field. And the other area that I was just introduced to, and not because of any proposition that was passed recently, but is the hydroponic growing opportunities. There's a lot of organic farming going on. There's a lot of aqua farming that goes on where they're actually farming fish in plants. And so when we take a look at that, that's a lot of energy. There are some areas up in the Central Valley where there's some companies that would like to put up some of these indoor farming facilities. But we don't, as a company, we don't really have enough electricity to support them. That's how energy intense they are. So from an emerging product standpoint, we're looking at what are they using that is consuming energy, and how can we improve the efficiency of those apparatuses and devices, and maybe come up with alternative solutions so we can reduce the electricity use and maybe piggyback it with photovoltaic solar panels and maybe some battery storage. But maybe look at that process to help reduce energy. There's a lot of new information coming on this part of the ag market. A lot of entrepreneurism that's coming through. A lot of people coming in with different technologies for lighting, pumping, purification, RO systems. So we want to champion with them and try to even help and accelerate the enhancements of those type of apparatuses. And that's all I have.